you can draw this in Procreate. Let's create another landscape in a circle. For this tutorial, we are going to use a brand new brush that you can find in the treasure chest. If you haven't signed up yet, you can go to freefromflow.com to get loads of freebies like a lot of brushes, color palettes, and my special ebook about color theory. As always, I will guide you through every single step in this tutorial, and once you have reached the end, do be sure to share your work. If you share it on Instagram, tag me in the image, not just in the description, and I will be able to find it and perhaps we'll see your work in the next video. Also, before we get started, don't forget to hit that thumbs up if you are enjoying these You Can Draw This video tutorials. Leave a comment to share your thoughts and hit that subscribe button, of course, if you haven't already. And if that's still not enough for you, then you can join my Patreon community. There you won't just get a whole lot of brushes, but you'll also have access to exclusive video tutorials. But for now, let's get started with this tutorial. First of all, the canvas size is 2500 pixels by 2500 pixels. And I have the color profile set to sRGB. I have created a color palette for you, which you can download through the link in the description, totally free of course. First thing we'll do is go to the layer menu, these two little squares, then click background color, and we'll pick this first color in the color palette. And now we are going to grab the monoline brush, which you can find under calligraphy, and we are going to pick this color over here, that first one in the second row. And we are going to draw a circle. The opacity is at 100% of course, and I have the size at 65%. Now let's draw a circle. Hold your pen in place to make it snap to the quick shape, and then hold one finger on your screen to make it snap to a perfectly round circle. Now drag in the color like this to fill your shape. And now let's go to the arrow tool here at the top. Make sure you have snapping turned on over here. And now you can move your circle around until you see these two lines, and then you'll know your circle is in the exact center of your canvas. Now we are going to duplicate this layer. We'll go to the two little squares, slide to the left on the layer, and then click duplicate. Now we'll go and grab this color over here, the second one, and drag it onto the circle. Then we'll duplicate this one as well. So again, slide to the left, click duplicate. And then let's grab this color, the third one in the color palette, and drag it onto the circle. Now we'll make this circle a little bit smaller by going to the arrow here at the top. Make sure you have it set to uniform. And then drag one of these handles to make this circle a little bit smaller, and then move it around until it's in the exact center. I'll make it a little bit bigger, until we have a thin, light edge around our circle. Then just click the arrow again to get out of there. I want to make the entire circle a little bit smaller, and a way to do that is by selecting all of these layers, so we'll make them all smaller. You'll have to slide to the right on each layer so you have them all selected. Then you can go to the arrow again, and then you can just drag that handle and make it a little bit smaller, and then make sure that you have it centered on your canvas again. And then just click the arrow to get out of the menu. Now we'll go back to the menu and we'll click the top layer. That's the blue circle. We'll click that layer and turn on alpha lock. Now we will only be able to paint on the circle and not on that area around the circle where you see that checkerboard pattern. For the brush, we are going to use the soft brush under airbrushing. And for the color, we are going to pick this fourth color over here. I have the opacity of the brush set at 50%, and let's set the size at 12%. And let's go over that lower area and lighten that up a little bit. Don't go all the way to the top. We'll just lighten that lower area, making these horizontal strokes. Then let's switch to the next color, this pink over here, that fifth color. Let's make the brush a little bit bigger. Let's go for 16%. And let's go over this area here. I'm using very little pressure, slowly building that pink up. Make multiple strokes until it looks like this. Then we'll move to the next color. That's the sixth one over here. And we'll darken it even more here on the sides. Now let's switch to this yellowish color. That's the sixth color. And we'll just go over this center area here. That's where the sun will be. So let's make that a bit orangey, yellowish. And now to make the transitions a bit more soft, we can go to the magic wand, hit Gaussian Blur, set it to layer, and then drag to the right. And let's do a slight blur. Let's go for 5%. Now we'll switch to this color, the final color over here. And let's go to the brush. Select the brush. Let's make it a bit smaller. Let's go for 6%. And then go ahead and make a sun over here. Just make these rounded motions to make a blurry looking sun. Now we are going to make a new layer on top of this layer. We'll click the plus in the layer menu and we are going to click that layer and turn on clipping mask. Now whatever we paint on layer 4 will only show up on that circle on this layer 1. We're going to the selection tool, that's the S shape ribbon, and we are going to set it to rectangle. Then we'll go from the lower left corner, drag it up like this until we are just below the sun. So we are around here. Then go to color fill and then select this color, that third color. And then you can turn off the selection by clicking the S shape ribbon again. Now the horizon is looking way too sharp, so let's blur it a bit. We'll go to the magic wand, then pick Gaussian Blur, set it to layer, and drag your pen to the right on your screen until you are around 6%. And then just click the magic wand again to get out of that menu, then go to the layer menu, click that layer 4 and turn on alpha lock. So whatever we paint, it'll only show up on the water layer and not on that checkerboard pattern here. For our brush, we are going to the elements brushes and use the oceans brush. For the color, let's pick this color over here, that fourth color. I have the opacity of the brush set to 60%. And let's set the size at 15%. And let's make these horizontal strokes over the water, adding this watery texture. Just keep making horizontal strokes, especially in the center area. And now let's switch color. Let's pick this orange color, that's the 7th color, and then go over the center area. Make horizontal strokes going down to the edge of the circle. You can go multiple times, making that water orangey. Then we'll switch to that reddish color, the 6th one, and we'll go over that area again, adding some reddish tones. Now we can use another blur. We can go to the magic wand again, pick Gaussian Blur, set it to layer, drag to the right, and let's go for 3.7%. Now we are going to use the smudge tool. That's the little finger here at the top. And we are going to use a brush from the treasure chest. We are going to use the smudgy hairbrush. Now this water, it has nothing to do with hair, but sometimes you can use brushes like this. Even though it's called smudgy hair, you can use it for something entirely different, like blurring and smudging the water. I have the opacity of this brush set to 75% and the size is at 25%. And now let's make horizontal strokes, smudging the water a bit, blending this area. Do make sure that you keep making these horizontal strokes, don't go crisscross all over. And you can smudge the area a bit, and also over here, not just the center area, as long as you keep making horizontal strokes. Now that it's nicely blended, let's move on to the clouds. Let's make a new layer for that. So we'll click the plus in the layer menu and again, use clipping mask. So click the layer, turn on clipping mask, and for our brush, we are going to use another treasure chest brush. We are going to use the clouds brush. And for the color, we are going to pick this color over here, the second color. The opacity of the brush is at 100% and let's set the size to 22%. And let's add some clouds here. And you can play around with the size. You can also make it a bit smaller, whatever you like. I'll make some clouds over here. And now let's make the brush a bit smaller. Let's go for 10%. Add some clouds over here. We'll make some nice wispy clouds. And layer by layer, build those clouds up. We'll add some over here. Don't go filling your entire sky. And I will go even smaller. Let's say 3%. And we'll make some clouds over here, really wispy ones, just some horizontal strokes. These are very far away. And now we are going back to the smudge tool. So that's that little finger over here. And we are going to set it to the standard blender. It's my favorite blending brush. I have the opacity set to 45%. And let's set the size at 30%. And now let's go over these clouds. Follow like the direction of the clouds. Make these bit of like rounded strokes. And this way you're dragging the paint around on your canvas, making these clouds look more wispy. Make long strokes, don't use too much pressure. If it's smearing too much, then you might need to lower the opacity. Go underneath here, making this nice and wispy. We'll make the brush a little bit smaller for those lower clouds. Let's go for 15%. Let's go over these, softening them a little bit. Just like that. Next, we are going to make some darker clouds near the horizon. And we are going to use the basic flow brush for that. It's also in the treasure chest. It's right here. Let's go and use this dark color over here, that third color. I have the opacity of the brush set to 100% and the size is at 25%. Now this is an opaque brush, so if you make strokes, it'll still be a bit transparent, and the harder you press on your pencil, the more opaque the stroke will become. And I'm using very little pressure and making these rounded strokes, creating these cloud shapes over here. And you can use, like I said, you can use multiple strokes, slowly building that color up, making it darker and darker. But a transparent brush like this, it gives you a lot of control. You can slowly build it up. Let's add a dark cloud over here as well. I'll start with a horizontal stroke and then add these rounded strokes on top, making rounded motions, slowly building it up. And we'll do the same thing on this side. You can start with horizontal strokes and then make these rounded strokes on top. Slowly building these clouds here. And I'm focusing on the sides, so you'll still see the sun in the center. We won't be covering that. I'm sticking close to the horizon, slowly building up these clouds. Some rounded shapes here, and also some horizontal. So I'm mixing these horizontal strokes, wispy clouds, with the rounded shapes. Now we can switch color. We can use this purple as well. We'll use that for clouds that are closer to the sun. These are a little bit warmer due to the light of the sun. So I like some purplish clouds here, making them pretty small. We don't want to cover everything. So rounded motions. Perhaps some clouds here as well. Something like that. And now to soften this a little bit, you can use the smudge tool again with the standard blender. And you can just go over these clouds, still with these rounded motions. And you can blend them a bit with the surroundings. Softening the edges, blending the centers, the middle areas of the clouds, making it less blotchy. Just these rounded motions. And on this side as well. Just a little bit. You can drag the paint around, make it more wispy, drag it a little bit over our sun. So we're pushing and pulling the paint. I think it's looking good. Let's move on to the final touch for this painting. Let's go to the layer menu and click the plus for a new layer. And again, we'll use clipping mask. So click the layer, turn on clipping mask. And for our brush, we are going to use the fine liner brush, also in the treasure chest. And for the color, we are going to use this one over here. We are going to create this fern leaf. The opacity of the brush is at 100% and the size is at 17%. Now first let's make a stroke beginning here in the center and all the way up there. Just a curved stroke. And now we are going to grab the fern brush, which is new in the treasure chest. The opacity is at 100% and the size is at 5%. Now the harder you press with this brush, the bigger the leaves will become. It might take a little bit of practice. Don't forget you have an undo option. Just tap with 2 fingers on your screen to undo if you're not happy with any of the leaves. Now let's just start here. And let's create these fern leaves. On each side, make these swooping motions. Leave some space in between. And make them a little bit smaller as you move towards the tip. And stop when you are about here. Now we are going to switch back to the fine liner brush. And now we are going to make lines going to the tip of these leaves. And we'll go a little bit further, adding these tips to the ends. Start near the stem and then go all the way to the tip. And do this on both sides. Until you are all the way till the end. Then we'll add some more here, just by hand. And make them smaller as you move towards the tip. And Then we'll draw some extra leaves here by hand. Just little touches. And for the top ones, for the ones that are very small, you can just keep them like that. And finally, let's add a little shadow underneath our circle shape. Remember that dark layer that we made in the beginning? Let's go there. That's layer 1 here at the bottom. Let's go to the move tool and let's move this layer down just a little bit. Like that. Then click the arrow again. Then go to the magic wand, go to Gaussian Blur, set it to layer, and drag your pen to the right. Let's go for 12% and then click the magic wand again. And there you have your sunset landscape. I hope you have enjoyed following this tutorial. Let me know in the comments and let me know what type of tutorials you would like to see. I'm always open to suggestions. I want to thank you for watching and I will see you next time for the next You Can Draw This video tutorial.